guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Rose, if you didn't already know. Today I am going to be teaching you guys on how to create this green emerald look. My bad, my light went off. This look, ironically enough, is perfectly timed for St. Patrick's Day coming up here within the next week. When I got up this morning and decided to create this look, I actually wasn't consciously thinking of St. Patrick's Day at all. I was actually just kind of interested in doing something with a green eye look today because I figured why not mix it up a little. The last video I recorded is actually more of a natural look, and I figured, hey, why not add a pop of color? And it kind of goes with my eyes and whatnot and what I was planning on wearing today, so that's kind of why I went in this direction for this look. But being that we are coming up on St. Patrick's Day, it actually works quite well. So obviously, as usual, you do not have to use the exact products I used to create this look. You can use any products. If you have a preference, then go for it. You do not have to use the products I use. You don't have to use the eyelashes I use. If you want to use a different lip shade, you could go ahead and do that. If you're somebody of a different skin tone, because let's be honest here, I'm pretty much stark white, ghost white. Like, you can't get much more pasty than me. You can obviously change up the color I used for blending in the different shades of green. Go with something that's a little more darker. If you wanted to change up your highlight shade, you could do something like that. You do not have to use the colors I use whatsoever. But yeah, if you guys are interested in figuring out how to create this makeup look, then just keep on watching and we're going to jump right into it. First, I'm going to take the Maybelline Masterprime Primer in the blue shade to hydrate and smooth and put this all over my face, particularly in the T-zone. I just use my fingers for this, nothing fancy. Next, I take the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation and I squirt a few pumps out on the back of my hand and then dip my beauty blender in it and put clumps of it all over my face. Once I get dots of it all over one area of my face, then I go and blend it in and proceed on to the next section and so on and so forth until I get the foundation all over my face. Normally for my forehead, I only put a minimal amount on up there and I try to blend it down through my neck area and collarbone as well. When blending it out with a beauty blender, I try to pat it instead of dragging it to spread it out across my face. I take my Revolution Conceal and Hydrate concealer and apply checks under my under eyes and a line across the top of my eyelids. And then I take my Revlon color correcting concealer and apply dots underneath my eyelids and on top. Then I take one of my Beauty 360 beauty blenders and just blend that out and together, doing the same patting motions that I used with the larger size beauty blender. Once I have thoroughly gotten that patted out and blended, I go in with a second layer just for a little additional coverage. And again, repeating the blending process. Next, I will be applying some around my nose and repeating the same process to blend it out. I'm going to take my Dermablend loose setting powder and apply some of that to my under eyes and around my nose to set the concealer so that it doesn't crease or wear off as easily. To do this, I'll be using the Sigma F35 tapered highlighter brush. You don't have to use this brush or this style of brush. This for me is just a brush I don't use very often for other things, so it works perfect. I'm going to grab the Ace Beauty Oceanic palette and dip into the shade Fiji, which is in the middle row and the second shade in from the left. It is this tealish color. To do this, I'm going to use my Morphe M514 blending brush. take a combo of actions from packing to blending to packing and blending all over the eyelid and working upward to create a crease slightly above where my natural crease is. To blend this out, I use windshield wiper type motions, again in the crease area working upward. The next shade I go into is called Pacific. It's located in the top right corner of the Oceanic palette. It's this darker bluish green shade, and I pack that in my outer corner and work it inward towards the middle of my eye and crease area. Just packing and blending, creating a slight rounded shape in the outer corner. Next, I am taking a chisel shader brush, starting with the lighter of the two colors just used on the inner part of the lower eyelid and lash line, working outward into the outer corner and applying the darker shade in the outer corner. I also take that darker shade and blend it out up into the top eyelid area where the darker color is also at. Next, I'm going to break open the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I'm going to dip into the third shade in on the second row. It's called Pooter. I'm going to use it to blend out the green shade on the upper eyelid. I'm going to use the Sigma E25 blending brush to do this on the upper eyelid, using the same circular windshield wiper type motions as I did earlier. I'm going to take a pencil brush and repeat the same process on the lower eyelid. And you might notice how it had started to muddy up in the outer corners. I just took a clean blending brush to diffuse this. Next, I'm going to take an angled liner brush and the Becca Cosmetics pressed highlighter in Pearl and apply it to the inner corners of my upper and lower eyelids. Next, I'm going to take my NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Ash Brown to line and fill in my brows. Once I've done that, I'm going to take my Benefit Cosmetics Foolproof Powder in shade number 5 and a different angled liner brush and take small hair-like strokes to fill in my brows. I start with the lighter shade on the inner corners by my nose and blend it out into the darker shade where the arch is and the outer tips of the brows. Next, I take my Anastasia Beverly Hills setting eyebrow gel and use upward strokes to set my brows. Next, I take a flat Kabuki brush and the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the lightest shade and apply that along my forehead hairline. Then I take it from my hairline right above my ear, halfway down the middle of my cheeks, where my face would concave and naturally create its own shadow. After that, I apply a little underneath my chin and down my neck to give me a more bronze golden effect. Next, I take an angled blush brush and the Physicians Formula Butter Brush and apply it a little above where I applied the bronzer and not so far down the cheeks for a nice pink effect. Doing it this way helps create a more natural looking glow and helps shape my face a little more. I take the same Becca highlighter and an angled fan brush and apply it right above my blush and down the bridge of my nose and on my cupid's bow. I take my Kaasge eyelash curler, starting right by the root, doing pumping motions and slowly working my way up the eyelashes till I get to the tip. I find doing it this way keeps the eyelashes curled for longer throughout the day. Next, I use the NYX Epic eyeliner. It's a liquid liner, and I use this to create my eyeliner on the top of my eyelid. Today I won't be doing anything too chunky, just a nice wing liner up towards my brows. I will be taking a NYX lip crayon in Nude Pink and drawing a slight curved line across my Cupid's bow. I do it like this instead of following my natural lip shape, so then it gives a more fuller effect for the top lip. Next, I take the NYX Soft Matte Liquid Lipstick in this pinky shade and apply it to the middle area of my lips. Then I take the Revlon Ultra HD lipstick and apply it to the outer portions of my lips. I did this just because I felt that pink color was a little too bright with the green, and I tried to make it a little more subtle while keeping the center area still a little lighter. So this is the finished look. I know I didn't film me putting on my eyelashes. I will have those linked down below. I do not know the exact name of them off the top of my head. So again, that's why I'm going to link those down below. I think I forgot to show it, but the mascara I used was Josie Maran's Black Argan Oil Mascara. I'm pretty sure aside from that, I had included everything else in this makeup look. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I bumped my eyelid on this side with my black liquid liner. That was a frustration in and of itself, but then when applying this nude shade to blend out those green and teal shades, if you saw me in person, at least up close in person, it did slightly start to muddy up there. So what I did to kind of try and counteract that was I took a clean blending brush and went in and tried to blend that out a little more. And when it got too far out along the sides here, I just took my, try to find it, I don't know where it is. I just took my mini 360 beauty blender I used earlier and just kind of blended that in with the rest of the concealer that was on there. But I would like to hear from you guys. What was your favorite part of this makeup look? If you have a makeup dupe for any of the products I used, if you could list those down below, I'd appreciate it. And the biggest one for me personally, at least, if you guys have any products that are comparable to this Makeup Forever HD foundation, I would appreciate it. As far as how its application is, I think maybe mine's just old, but it is so expensive of a product. I'd like to find a dupe for it that's a little cheaper. I know I've heard that the Born This Way foundation is a decent substitute, but I haven't tried it yet myself. So that is something I have considered. If you have a drugstore dupe that you also don't feel, even if it's a hydrating product that doesn't make you break out more, I'd appreciate that. As far as skincare products and foundation, that is a big thing for me, that I have very dry skin. So when I go to try and re-moisturize and apply products that are supposed to be hydrating and not mattifying, things like that, I tend to then flip in the other direction of that spectrum and end up making myself have more acne. I'm not somebody who has a lot of acne, so I know usually right off the bat what is causing it. If it's hormone related, some foods that I'm eating, or if it's a product that I'm using. So I take that into consideration when trying to find new products, because let's be honest, makeup is there to cover imperfections. But if you're just continuing that cycle and applying more makeup to cover over acne and scarring caused by things in your diet or other products that you have used, really it's counterproductive in the long run. You're not solving your problem, and I don't want to personally add to my skin. I personally don't want to add things to my skin that are going to cause me more problems in the long run. it's counterproductive. I'm trying to keep my skin natural, healthy most of the time, just in good shape, not a lot of acne. I'm actually somebody who's rather fortunate in those areas whereby I don't get a lot of acne typically unless I am eating dairy, applying a product that's outside of my routine or that I haven't used before, or if it's hormonally caused. When I was pregnant, that was probably the worst point for acne for me ever. I wasn't somebody who had a lot of teenage acne, maybe 1 or 2 pimples around the female time of the month, but outside of that, I wasn't somebody who dealt with excessive acne ever. So when I became pregnant, even though I barely wore makeup, the amount of acne I had in comparison to any other point in my life was rather excessive. So with that being said, I tried not to layer on more makeup to make the hormonal acne worse. It was just kind of counterproductive, and I figured, you know what, I'm tired and worn down anyway, why not just save the money for now and put it towards my kid, and then save it and wait until I start filming, which is where I am at now. So that actually worked out in my favor there. And I've been trying to do a rotation whereby I do a top or flop and then I do a makeup tutorial, so then it kind of goes back and forth. So then, especially if I do a top or flop, then I tend to go on and use it in a tutorial. And I'd rather have you guys have an idea of the products that I'm using and how they work and have a review going forward than to just throw products into a tutorial and then maybe they just don't work out for you. And in that case, if you went out and purchased those specific products, it kind of doesn't do you much good if you don't really know how they're going to react to your skin, if they will stay on and stay in place like some people have experienced, or if they're just going to maybe slide right off your skin, things like that. Shade range doesn't end up being right for you, different things of that nature. Eventually here soon, I'd like to be posting 2 a week, but it's just hard right now. I have 2 9-to-5 jobs, I'm doing this, I have things I sell online, and then I'm taking care of my kids. So it's really hard to balance all those things. Hoping once I get a little more experienced, hopefully this setup I have started going on here will work a little better as far as video editing, so then I don't have to edit as much afterwards and then can have things the way I want it as it's filming, if that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. If you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the notification bell, because the notification bell is what sends the notifications directly to you for when I upload. But that's all I have. Until next time, guys. Bye.